Welcome everyone to episode number 2 of the EverPresent Podcast. My name is Chris DeBeal, and before today's episode, I did want to quickly hop on here and apologize to you guys for the audio quality coming from my end. I did purchase a second microphone just for today's episode, but I honestly did get way too caught up in the amazing conversation that we were having with our guest that I completely forgot to speak directly into it. And although you can hear me for 95% of what I say, it isn't of the best quality, and I did want to apologize to you guys for that. I know it is only our second episode, and we are only getting better, but I should have done better than that, and I do want to apologize. But to get into the episode and to introduce our first guest on the EverPresent Podcast, today we do have on 2021 Fort Myers Tip-Off MVP, 2021 Orange Bowl Classic MVP, two-time SEC Player of the Week, and two-time All-SEC second-team selection, my best friend, person who I like to call a brother, Colin Castleton. Let's get into it.
What's up, y'all? How you doing?
Man, what's up, man? How you been? How you doing?
Good. We got
I ain't seen you in a minute.
a little while. But we stay in touch like usual.
Usual, for sure. But shoot, 2 wins, 2 big ones, over Georgia at the crib. You get LSU, big grinded out win. I'm sitting here from Cyprus watching the game. You got me on the edge of my seat. But how you feel after a 2-win week?
Good. As you guys know, we got a big one coming up tomorrow versus Missouri. So that's gonna be a really good game. We'll get to that, but just great after, we had a couple games back to back that we felt like we should have won. We're close. We lost by, I think, a basket, like 2 or 3 points within 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
We know the Auburn game. And then we also know after that we played close games. So Texas A&M was close too. But we have an opportunity to play them again. So we're ready for that. But we're focused on tomorrow. We've had a good week of practice. But those 2 games were big for us, obviously. We were sitting at 500, 7-7. And, that was thinking about, that's never happened in my career. I've never had that chance. And I was sitting there dang. 7-7 is not good. So we had to figure something out. I had to step up as a leader, and we just been clicking on all cylinders. So feels good for sure to get those 2 wins. There's 2 good teams. They've had pretty big wins this year in Georgia, and they beat a couple good teams, and they just, obviously have Coach White as well. So that was a cool game to win, obviously. And then LSU was on the road, so it was a good environment. They have a really good big man. Me and him battled all night, and we were able to pull away that win. So we're getting ready for this game tomorrow, and that's the focus.
Yeah, man, y'all have me. I had people texting me saying my cheering for Georgia or Florida. I'm like, I can't root against my guys on the court. That's bad business, bro.
Yeah.
No, man. So you say you stepped up as a leader. I like to hear that. Have you how you feel? Really being the leader on the team this year. Really being that guy. That you one of the oldest guys on the team. You got everybody looking up to you. You had Honcho. You was the big dog on the team last year. But you had guys. Like App. You had Flan was vocal. You had me. I was vocal. We had Rouge. Rouge led by example. With his play. But now it's it's you. You big dog now. You got the experience. You the one that they look to. For that. That guidance. How's that feel now to be in that position? Long,
good. It's good.
Like
just being able to just obviously like you said, be a leader. That's the biggest thing. I've learned a lot throughout my career. Obviously, it's my 5th year. So when I was younger, I was obviously the guy that was just listening into what my leaders told me. Xavier Simpson, Charles Matthews, John Teskey, a lot of guys at Michigan. Isaiah Livers was my guy. Jordan, who's in the NBA. I've had a lot of guys that I've been able to learn different ways about how they work, how they talk to people. And when I first started learning to be a leader and things you have to do, it was hard at first because I was always somebody who was, I was at Michigan, I had a different mindset of just learning from other people and seeing how they went about it to transitioning to showing the younger guys or not even on work ethic, things like that. Because at this level, you got to know you have to work. That's the bottom line. You got to get your stuff in. You got to do what you got to do. So not teaching that stuff, but on the court, just as an older guy, I'm 22 now, being able to help out with certain things. Like we got Riley, who's a really young player, and he's amazing. Like he's really good. He's coming along, but
I
sometimes
like
there'll be
Riley.
things throughout the game, and I'll just be like, damn, like, why did he do that? But then I realized, okay, what would I have done when I was 18 or 19? Like, what play would I have made? And he's playing a lot better than that. So, like, I don't really get upset. I don't get mad. Like, it comes with the growth. And as a leader on the team, me helping these guys grow is my biggest mindset, and helping Coach Golden, because when I decided to come back, that's what he told me. He's like, we got you. We got Kyle Lofton, who transferred in, who's a great leader as well. And that's what I was going to get to. It's kind of like a collective unit of us three. That's the biggest thing. We're the three oldest guys. I personally feel like these last couple games, us three have stepped up as leaders. So that's what's really helped us win these games. Like, people don't realize in college basketball, you need to have those guys to really come together and be like, yo, like, we're not losing no more. Like, whatever we have to do on the court to win the game, we're going to do it. Like, we know what it feels like to lose. Like, I hate to lose. That's like, I don't sleep. I don't eat. Like, I just hate losing. Like, I get what I have to do, and the next day I wake up and I'm able to move on from it. But it hurts. Like, that day when you lose, it hurts. So, like, being able to understand, like, Coach Gordon has told us, like, we know what that feels like losing. So let's stop doing that. Like, let's get wins. Let's start winning. Let's do what we have to do to win. And as a leader, that's just something I've been able to learn with the best coaches I've been taught by. I've had great coaches. I've been able to learn different ways of, how they're leaders and what they've taught me. So that's just the biggest thing. But I think it's a collective unit this year. To go back to what you said about the question, just me, Myron, and Kyle were each like 22, 23 years old. Like, that's, a lot of veteran basketball all in one little collective starting lineup. So we just try to do everything. Like, the biggest thing for us recently, because I watch every game, every single second. I watch all the huddles all the time. I just like knowing how we look as a team. So I feel like recently that's something that's really flipped, is just every dead ball, we're coming together. Like, we're not doing that pouting stuff no more. We're not complaining about the officials. Like, that's the biggest thing. And I even took initiative, because I knew there was a couple games where I was complaining too much. Like, I was getting in my head, like, things weren't going a certain way. And I was complaining about a call that, like, why am I complaining about that? And that's something I saw on film. I was like, I got to correct this. I got to do better as a leader, like we talk about. But yeah, we've been able to just come together in huddles. And it seems like it's so little and nonchalant, but people don't realize that stuff's huge. When you are on the road, you're down 7 in the first 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Like, how do you respond to that? Because as a good basketball team, LSU in their huddle was saying, let's turn this into 14-0 and let's blow them out the gate. Let's get them out of here. So on our end, it's being able to just respond to, like, those adversities that we've had. Because even those 2 games, we dug ourselves a big hole. Like, Georgia, we were down, I think it was 13 or 14 at one point, and we're just looking up at the scoreboard. We're like, yo, like, we gotta fix this, y'all. Like, we're down 13. Like, come on, man. Like, we gotta do better. And we all looked at each other, and then boom. But some games you're not gonna be able to just flip that switch. And that's the thing you gotta know. In the SEC, like, we're getting good opportunities to come back and win games, but there's a really slight margin for error when you're playing those teams that you have no chance. Once they get that 7-0 run, they're gonna take off with it. So.
Most definitely. We definitely don't experience that here and there. Man, MJ, Myron, that boy had me on my seat, man. I'm so happy to see him the way he been playing, bro.
So happy, man. You don't even understand.
Bro. Because me and Chris was talking about it, like MJ just need to be MJ. Like, and then, like, man, I'm sitting there like, I really saw MJ, like the MJ I know, like the MJ that I was in workouts with, like, every day. Like, I'm sitting on the edge of my seat, like, turned up, like, screaming at the iPad. Like, it was just one of the moments even for me, just like seeing it from the outside in, because I ain't there no more. Like, just like knowing, it's just like, I was just so happy for him. And then that got him rolling, like he playing. Like, MJ being MJ, like, I'm just like happy to finally see it,
For sure. And it's not even on no scoring. Like, he's just
he's just being
like, he doesn't understand. He is a great defensive player. Like, when you watch us play, like, I'm fighting the dude in the post, like, fighting for my life. Like, me and him, 250, we're battling, and then MJ just comes over to steal, and I'm like, let's go, MJ. Appreciate that. Like, little stuff like that, he's just really good at. Like, he's able to just affect the game on a defensive end because he's long. He rebounds well for a guard. Like, he gets in there and he'll grab rebounds. He definitely helps out. So he does a lot of little stuff that helps you win, and those are the things that, as leaders, you need them to do.
Yeah, for sure. So, one thing was, like, I was left out 2-time watch list center of the year. I think he the best college center, in my opinion. I don't see nobody really. I don't really see nobody checking my boy. I personally don't. So I want to know if you could have Sports Center Live, ESPN, everybody there, and you got 1-on-1, and when you show out, that's like, yeah, now I can really talk my talk. So like, y'all need to stop putting disrespect on my name. Put my name on the board. I'm the
One-on-one,
best center.
no help.
Hey, like no help. Like we throwing in the post and you got daylight, no digs, no nothing. Like
And that's a
you
college
got.
player, SEC, like what? What college player or
I
SEC player?
we can do college player, we can do SEC. Like that's just I just want to know, like, because I be seeing they be blowing the other people big's name up. I'm just like, you're not talking about my boy Colin though. Like he over there really, he just had 7-8 blocks. I ain't hear nothing about that. Like what's going on? Like that ain't easy.
Yeah,
Something players ain't getting 8 blocks in the game. Like come on now. Like and
it's
and,
all good,
and,
bro.
and you can't say it like one time. I didn't see it with my own eyes like too many times. Bro. Like it's just like so I want to know, like, who would you really
One-on-one,
want
I
to just
mean, just being a competitive player, like the biggest person obviously is the other best player in the SEC and Oscar. So that would probably be a big one just because he's a big. So I would go against a big. I'm not gonna pick like a guard, but I'll go
nah,
against a big.
obviously.
Yeah. So it'll
Yeah.
probably be Oscar though. Like last year we went at it, but like I've said to a lot of people, like I had a torn shoulder, so I don't think they
You want to get
doubled,
your
but
full
we'll
go.
see what happens when we play him.
You want to get your full go. I like that. I
Definitely.
want to see that too.
But
I
to be honest
want to
with you
see
though,
that.
this year, like I was talking with my coaches about it, like just the transition from, like obviously I understand teams are going to double team, teams are going to dig down really hard, teams are going to do whatever they can to try to take me on my game, be physical. I know the whole scout. I know what their type of deal is. People have told me, coaches have told me after games. So like I know
Yeah,
what their approach is. There's only so much you can do.
yeah,
But like the jump from last year, this year, I was talking to my assistant coach. I was like, yo, it's actually kind of crazy. Like last year, I was getting guarded by like 2 guys, maybe like a good double team was there.
yeah.
Like I've done a way better job this year of passing the ball too. So like that's something I really focused on. But last year I was a little careless with it a little bit too much. I didn't really know how to like attack a double team because my junior year I got
Yeah,
doubled, but it wasn't really a lot like that. Like it wasn't crazy because my
yeah.
first year after that transfer, then last year, like the doubles came out of nowhere. And I was like, oh my God, like it's kind of wild being able to just adjust to having 2 guys guarding you. And then
Like
this
now
year, like I
Yeah,
understand where to find my guys, but the biggest thing that's like surprising me is like they're even throwing 3 at me. Like it's weird. Like sometimes when like they might not triple team me right away, but they're gonna throw their double team at me from the baseline, and then I'm gonna try to go middle, and then the other guy's coming in, and like that's something that I
yeah.
had to adjust to. Like because I know how to
No,
I know how to navigate a double team. If 2 guys are just guarding me, I'm cool with navigating with that. But being able to adjust to
3.
like 3, I'm like, all right, well shoot. I got to be able to just get it out quick. And that's something I've been talking
Yeah.
about with coaches, just being able to get the ball out of my hands quicker, not holding it too
Nah,
long.
you definitely been making like real good reads though. Like on passes, like you've been like your pass has been looking like I was like, damn, he out here navigating right now. He's like yeah. Hey, looking like a
You know
center.
what I really want to see you go at it one more time, like straight 1-on-1. The big from UConn. I never pronounced his name right, so I'm
Oh, Dom, yes, no, he's good. He's good. Yeah.
How was that game? That was a big game. Like how was the vibe of that game? Our first big game was really Florida State. Like
Yeah, yeah.
it was rain.
Nah,
It
it
was
was it
rain. We
was
had
deep. It was deep. There
yeah
was a lot of people in there. We definitely
yeah
didn't play how we were supposed to because it was a good environment. A lot of people came out and we just lost. Like we didn't do anything we were supposed to. They rebounded. Their backup big is good too. He's a 7'2" kid. He's got great hands and like good feet for his size. But I was getting to all my spots, just things weren't falling. That was a game I really
yeah
struggled. I was like, man, like I'm making great moves. I'm hearing this with my shoulders. My footwork is getting
mhm,
to where it needs to go to. I'm bumping them to the right spot. I'm getting to my spot. And it's just like I'm there. And I'm like, oh my God. It's just in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. So like that was when I had to change my mindset to like fully not letting scoring affect anything else. Cause like recently, that's why I've been able to just pass the ball a bit better, block more shots, give more energy. That's the biggest mindset flip. Because you can't just
yeah
affect the game with scoring. Like I was telling you, the whole goes back to the whole leader thing. Like you have to do whatever you can to help the team get a dub. Like, that's my mindset.
Right.
That's all I care about, because it's going to help us go further. Guys are going to get more exposure, and we just need to win games. That's the biggest thing. So,
Right. No, yeah. So, the next question you was talking about your mindset, your mental. I know Chris wanted to, talk about it too. So, Chris, you can chime in, ask anything whenever you feel like,
Oh, yeah,
I don't
no,
want
I was
to.
letting you, I was letting
Yeah,
you two go. Yeah,
but
I'm really going. Go ahead,
so
man.
everything ain't probably been sweet, through your 5 years of college. You've been in college a long time. It everybody got their stories, just that and the third, But coming from high school and then, getting into your college, when was it at a point where you just, it was like real low, like with hoop, like, you was just like, I don't know no more. Like, you really kind of like question it, or have you ever been at that point where you was just like are you question your own abilities, the abilities that you have been given,
yeah,
like when have you really like when was that point for you, like where you really had to just like it was like you I almost at rock bottom, with hoop type deal.
for sure. I have to say the biggest year of just like going through it mentally and like really dealing with just being anxious all the time, dealing with anxiety, having some situations like dealing with depression, like being really down, was probably my second year in Michigan. That was probably the biggest, because as every human does, like, you give yourself really high expectations and it doesn't go a certain way, you're like, whoa, like, that's kind
Yeah.
of weird. And every human does it. Everybody on this earth gives expectations for what they think is
Like,
going to happen in the future. People do it. It's human nature. So like, obviously I gave myself expectations, whatever. And it's just like, I think the biggest thing for me, like, looking back on that whole situation, is just like, everything I always think of to this day is like, you may be going through those things, like struggling with expectation and not knowing like what's next or whatever, but really finding that mental strength to just wake up the next day, go put the work in, wake up that next day, go put the work in, wake up to, like, just being able to just stay level headed was the biggest thing for me. And that's why I had my biggest ups and downs, was because now I know how to build that strength. But when I was younger, like sophomore year in Michigan, like, I was just going through like, how can I get through this practice, man? Like, I just want to go back. Like, I don't even want to play basketball right now. And that's when I realized, like, okay, something's got to change. Like, I got to flip my mindset. I got to do something, because that's never who I was. Like, that's never who I've been. And that's when I really knew, like, all right, well, I got to get some help. I got to talk to somebody about that. Because when I started questioning basketball, I knew there was a problem. Because
mhm.
I can question everything else in life or whatever, and just realize, okay, that may not be as big of a problem. Most regular people, humans, everybody questions things, you know what I'm saying? But when I started questioning my ability in basketball, like you stated, yeah, I did. Like, there was points where I was like, damn, man, like, I feel like I'm good enough, but like, I'm just not getting a chance. Like, I never doubted my ability of how good I am, because I always knew how good of a basketball player I was. Never once did I ever question that my whole life. Like, when I started playing well in basketball from high school to now, I've always been a confident person. That's something that not a single human being can take from me, because that's just something that's just drilled in my brain. Like, I know I'm confident. I believe in myself. But like, I was questioning just like, damn, man, is the work really worth it? Like, things like that. Like, because I'm like, everybody says, I watch a lot of people, I've learned from a lot of people, like, okay, put the work in, like, it's gonna work out. I would always get texts like, man, you'll be all right or whatever. Because I make sure I had a small circle, because I didn't want, like, people that didn't really care for me telling me their opinion. And like, that was something that I think to this day is like being able to not listen to everybody. Because if I listened to everybody while I was in Michigan, I would have transferred after my first year. I would have been gone as soon as the year ended, and I may not be here where I am today. So just being strong, level-headed. And I had a great opportunity going into my sophomore year. There was a lot of things I could have done differently too. Like, on the court, I had a couple bad games, and everybody knows if you have a couple bad games, you can lose your spot as a role player. That's just how simple it is. I know how that works in basketball. So there was also some realization there, like knowing, okay, there was a lot of things I could have controlled too, but just maturing from dealing with that depression, dealing with that anxiety. I met with, his name's Greg Harden at Michigan. He wasn't like a mental health therapist or like a therapist. He was like called a life coach. So he was there when Tom Brady was at Michigan, and Tom Brady kind of had similar paths to me. That's why he always used to talk to me. He's like, you guys are very relatable. Like, me and Tom Brady used to have a lot of these same talks we're having. And he worked there. He retired when I transferred. He talked to me about when he retired. So he's a great human being, but he was there for, I forgot how many years. People can look it up, but it's a long time he was at Michigan. Like he was there for, I don't want to say like a set amount, but at least over 20 something years. He was at Michigan, 30 years, I think. And he would do this with players. Like he would help them carve out a certain, that's what I just said. He worked with Tom Brady. Like me and Tom Brady, he said he used to ask the same questions and we used to have the same conversation that Tom Brady had with him. So like when he was at, I don't know if everybody knows the story, but a lot of people obviously know Tom Brady. He was at Michigan, didn't play until like his junior year, got an opportunity, ran with it or whatever, So then, and then he got drafted. Like his whole career has been insane. Like,
I don't remember pretty much.
Yeah, like if you just know, Tom Brady, his whole entire like career is just insane. The adversity he's built,
He's always
doubted, and he's just that dog. Like he's the GOAT. He's the best. He's gonna be the best football player of all time, and he is that. So, anyways, going back to the guy I talked to, we used to just talk about, being able to people who deal with those things like mental health, anxiety, and depression. Like obviously, people learn a different way. Everybody has their own type of daily routine, or maybe something that helps me may not help the next person that comes from dealing with mental health. Like not everything works for everybody, and you have to understand that. But he was able to just, for me personally, how I dealt with it when I was at Michigan was like, people talk about, oh, don't take a day for granted, like make sure you are useful with your time, like carve out what you're going to do, because if you deal with anxiety, like certain things like that help, like being able to trim certain things down into different categories helps you in the long run. Because if you think of like life or like, oh my God, what's like, I'm not, like if I would have thought at the time, my sophomore year, like I started thinking like, I'm not playing, man. Like you start getting negative, you start getting down on yourself, like things like that. So being able to just take everything one day at a time. And like he used to tell me, like he would carve out a day and be like, categorize your day, like categorize what you got going on and make sure you write like a schedule, because it just helps you like trim things down, be able to see the bigger picture day by day and not week by week or month by month. Because if you're looking in a week, you don't even know, like 7 days is a long time. So you just trim it down. Like right now, I wake up tomorrow, we have shoot around. I focus on that. I get a good breakfast in, go to the gym, lock in on shoot around. Like being able to just trim your day down and understanding you have all these little tasks at hand that lead to a bigger picture. Going to the gym, coming back home, getting my nap in, whatever that case may be, going back to the gym, getting my mindset ready for the game, like just trimming yourself down to those specific tasks at hand and not thinking of just, oh my God, we have a big game tomorrow. Like if that's all you're thinking about, it can mess your head up. So that's the biggest thing that I learned while I was at Michigan. And back then, I mean, this might be crazy, but like for me, it was practice, like being able every day to just build myself to get ready for practice, because I knew I wasn't playing. That probably wasn't changing. So I had to figure out a way to really get back to enjoying basketball, like really going in the gym and enjoying playing basketball, being around my teammates, whatever, because that was something that he taught me while I was at Michigan. Like at the end of the day, you're at the University of Michigan on a full athletic scholarship. Like it's not that bad. Like you have a lot of blessings in life. So that was something that he told me, and just being able to be grateful for all the little things you got in your life, being able to wake up. He's been through it. Like, there's a lot of little things that you have to cherish, and being grateful for those little things helps you get to the next day, helps you move on, helps you stay motivated. Having the right mindset is just the biggest thing. I've been ranting, but yeah, those are the biggest things for sure.
So the impact of your mental health now. Obviously, we've always been close. Like when you're in Michigan, we talk not every day, but pretty much every day.
Pretty much, yeah.
We've always been real close.
Fortnite, Call of Duty. We were playing every day.
So
I was not leaving that dorm when it was -8 degrees. Sorry, I'm from Florida. I'm not leaving that dorm.
I don't blame you.
I still don't miss having to go to those games. So cold there. But back to the question.
Great school though.
So compared to Michigan, like you were really going through it at Michigan. There's obviously seasonal depression. You're not playing.
Yeah.
You're away from your family, away from all your friends. That's a lot of there's negative things that you might be thinking about at the time, or like has a factor into what's going on in your life. So compared to where you were at that time, now where you are at today, like in the mental state, is it so much better? Like, because obviously when you're going through that, I understand when you're really going through that type of stuff, you think about it every day, and you have to like make yourself think good things and get through your day the best that you can, right?
Mm-hmm.
So do you feel like being back home, close to everybody, you're at Florida, you're playing a lot better. you're one of the best players on the team, the best player on the team, compared to where you're at Michigan.
Yeah.
Do you feel that you still have to struggle with those things? You have to think about them every day and like step the categories your days, like you were saying, or do you feel like it's more like not an autopilot, but you can just go about your life in a more normal sense as opposed to having to fight and struggle through those things? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, honestly, it's a little bit of both. Like being able to obviously be home was a big thing for me. Like mentally, I made that a priority when I was transferring. Like being closer to home, seeing my parents more. Like anybody would be lying if they didn't tell you that helps. Like it definitely helps. So family comes first. That's how it's supposed to be. So being able to be close to your family definitely helps your mental space out, because at the end of the day, no matter how bad your day's going, no matter how bad you played, no matter what you're going through with your schoolwork. I mean, I graduated, but like before, when I was going through with schoolwork, like how your practice went, like you may not be going the right way with your mindset. You could always be close to your family. Like they can see you in the next day. You know what I'm saying? And while I was at Michigan, I never had that luxury. A lot of guys do have that luxury, but I feel like that's really what made me strong to where I'm at now. I was able to learn like all the things I just told you guys about was able to help me learn. And it comes with maturing too. Like I'm 22 years old now, so I'm 3 years older than I was my sophomore year. And just going through those situations helps you, move on from it, but not fully move on from it, because I still deal with it. Like it never goes away. Like when you deal with mental health, it's always going to linger.
Yeah.
But it's really how you control it, how you, I guess, attack it. That's the main thing with me. It's like how I treat basketball. Like I attack it every day. Like when I'm on a court, I'm aggressive. Like that's how I try to attack that part of my life too, because at the end of the day, it's going to affect you. But if I'd be lying if I didn't say it affects me as much. It doesn't affect me as much at all. I've been able to work on a lot of things and like fully help. That's why when I hear people, and at the end of the day, like I didn't go through it as bad as a lot of people I know, or like people I've heard stories about. Like there's people that have been through a lot mentally. Like they struggle. They can't even eat. They can't even sleep. They can't even like go do normal things. And I'm not going to say that was me, because it wasn't. So I can't speak on things that weren't me, but like definitely mentally, it was more my like mental health problems were more, and to this day, they're more of just questioning. That's the biggest thing. Like questioning. Yeah, 100%. Like while I was at Michigan, I dealt with depression for sure. But nowadays it's more just questioning certain things and like wanting to know too much before I just settle down. Like it's life. Things are going to play out. I don't got to worry about where I'm going to be in a year. Like, so what, man? Like life is going to be all right. You're going to work it out. Things are going to fall into place. Don't worry about a weekend from now. Don't worry about 2 weeks from now. Focus on how you had a good day and how you can have a good day tomorrow. That's the biggest thing. That's what I focus on now.
Most definitely, because that's always the hard part. Like me and you always talk about that all the time, and like especially when you don't have the best game, or you think you could have done something better. Some could have just gone better in the game. I always tell you this: is just control what you can control.
100%.
Because when you're thinking about what comes next, or the NBA or whatever happens, like you got hurt last year, you couldn't have expected that. You just have to attack each day as it comes, because when you look at everything in the future, you're not going to be able to appreciate it every day for what it is. Like,
yeah, and speaking of injury, like that was the closest I was close to, like that was the closest I've been to like my problems at Michigan, like mentally, because that was getting injured was like a roller coaster, bro. Literally, like you're not even like injury is such a traumatic experience as far as like being an athlete, because it's just you don't expect it. Like you're not thinking of that. You always don't think you're gonna get injured, or somebody, even somebody you're close to. Like when somebody gets injured, you're like, damn, like that hurts, because you're like, you see all the work that person puts in, you see all the effort, and then it's just like one little boom, one little swipe of my arm. You know what I'm saying? Boom, torn shoulder, done for 6 months. And that was the first time my whole life that I went that long without being able to shoot a basketball or like pick up a basketball or be around it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I was able to go to the gym and watch, but any hooper wants to be able to shoot, or like even form shoot. Like it wasn't a leg thing to where it was 6 months and I could sit there and form shoot. I couldn't do nothing because your shoulder is required to be able to shoot. Like you do anything, but I couldn't dribble. So that was able to really make me hungry and just focus on my life. Also take a deep breath. So it helped me, like, not trying to fast forward, but this year I'm playing like, I feel great. I feel in good shape. Like I'm playing the last like 5 or 6 games. I played over 35 minutes, I think. And like my body feels good because I was able to get a little bit of that break because you don't get a lot of breaks. So when I had my injury, I really focused on getting my body right, getting my mind right for this year. So
Yeah, I already know about that injury. You know, I had the same injury. That
yeah,
ain't
no, I
no
remember we
joke. You
talked
know,
about it.
yeah, like
Yeah.
I told you, like you gotta. I told you, like you're not gonna be able to do nothing. I
Nope.
told you that before.
And I
I
didn't know
told you
it,
that
bro.
before.
Like
But yeah,
I heard
I
you, so I'm like, all
I
right, bet,
tried
bet,
to
bet,
tell
bet.
you.
I got you. Like I'm not
I
like.
tried to tell you. Like he
And
said,
then when
like,
it started
oh,
happening,
you're
I'm like,
true.
damn, I really can't do nothing. I gotta sleep. I had a brace on my arm. I had to sleep with a certain pillow
What?
that was this big. I'm leaning,
You know,
bro. I'm 7 foot with a long neck. I'm sitting in the bed like leaning with my neck broken. I used to sleep horrible, bro. So like,
yeah,
yeah,
I'm already knowing.
it was
Can't
crazy.
sleep on your
But
side because if they roll over, it's gonna mess
nope,
up this.
it's gonna mess up the
None of that.
recovery.
You
Yeah,
got,
you could only
you
sleep on
got,
your back, and if you rolled over, you had to snap up. Yeah, crazy.
bro. You bet they better than me. They told me I had to sleep sitting up. Like they got me like this pillow with like arms, and I had to
Oh,
sit
you know what it
sleeping up.
was? Your tear was probably worse than mine. That's probably what
No,
it
my tear was
was.
horrible.
Yeah,
My
no,
tear was
mine was
like
like a medium tear. You know how they
it was to the
categorize in
point.
like small, medium,
Yeah,
and like, all right, it's bad. Yeah.
yeah.
Did you
Like it was to
pop
the
your
point
joint
where I
out of?
was.
Did you pop it out of place?
Oh, it got to the point where my shoulder was falling out, like
Oh
just
yeah,
like off
no, I
con.
never had to deal with that.
Yeah,
That's the thing. I've had
yeah.
teammates though. Like I had a team in Michigan, bro. I kid you not. Like true story. This is how he used to like. His name was Austin. He was at Michigan, bro. He used to have like a torn labrum and had to get surgeries on him. And he would be in practice, bro. Like, mind you, this dude's like 260, strong. Like he's probably the strongest teammate I've ever had for sure. Like without a doubt, yeah, big dude. Like, and he was skilled in the post, like great hands. But like he would bang, and then he'd be like, oh, call the train over, and he'd just pop out mid practice. 10 minutes later, come into the gym, bang again. I'm like, whoa,
Yeah, that's how it
yeah,
was.
that's crazy. That's wild.
Like
Yeah,
in my high school senior year, I tore my shoulder. Like I tell you, like, it was falling. Like I had a brace on and everything, like, and it was still like fall out of socket. Like I gotta sit there and like pop it
that's
back in,
crazy, bro.
like right before the baseline out of bounds play. Like I'm sitting there like trying to jerk my arm back in the socket,
That's crazy.
like that's no joke. Like so when they was like you can't sleep on your back or nothing. Like, you gotta basically sit sleeping straight up. I'm like man, I'm sitting there like I'm waking up. Like you said, like I mean my neck ain't too damn long. Where
Yeah,
like my neck was
no, you don't gotta rub it
still
in.
hurting.
It's funny though.
Yeah,
Cool jokes. What were you gonna? You
it's
were gonna ask
crazy
me
though.
something?
No, I was saying it's crazy though. It's crazy though how like Colin get on here and he start really getting into it and like he really basically just talks about how he's ever present. That's what's crazy to me. Like literally, like he literally like without even saying a word, like he literally just mapped out how to be ever present. Like really make a schedule, like chop your day up into segments, categorize. Like he's literally saying like live day by day. Like take on the task and obstacles that you got for that day because tomorrow is not promised. Like you don't know what can happen tomorrow. So just focus on what you got today, do what you gotta do, and wake up the next day and attack the next day. Like that's just like it's crazy how like it just came about
Everything
like
we were
that.
saying in the first episode, like for
Yeah.
the whole hour and a half, is just basically what he's saying.
Like no script, like no script at all. Like it's just like it just flow. Like that's just crazy. Like
Nah,
that's crazy. That's crazy.
it was tough. But so the question that I was gonna ask was, how you're saying that was like the longest that you had ever gone with out touching a basketball in your life, and for that first half, like the first couple months of your after your surgery, like I was there for you like every day that I could be, right? And so I was there, like I could help you and like was helping you get through it like immensely. Obviously, for the back half, I got my accident and I wasn't able to be there, for the back half of it, help you through that. So what that whole time where you couldn't touch touch a basketball and you could only go and watch practice, do this. What was a couple of the biggest lessons you learned in that time in your life to like that's completely off the basketball court for the most part? Like what did you have to like go through or like what did you have to take away from that to help you?
Um, a couple of things probably, but the biggest thing is just mainly what I touched on too, though. Like at that point, I was like, well, basketball runs like my whole life, like you're saying. So like when I talked about how I have to break down my day, divvy my hours, and like focus on tasks at hand, like probably, I mean, right now I have school, so like over 75% of my tasks have to relate to basketball. So I was like, well, 75% of my life, or like really like 90. Like realistically, it's your whole life, bro. Like you do everything for basketball.
Exactly. Like that's more basketball, more your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're watching film more, you're practicing more. Like they're obviously traveling. Like for the NBA, like traveling is a majority. Like not being around your family, that's part of the struggle for them. But for us, it's just keeping up that strict schedule. So, I mean, bro, it was weird. Like I was telling you, like I never did it before. So the biggest thing for me was just cherishing the people around me, like you said, hanging out with my friends, and just spending time with the people that are closest to me, my family, and just seeing them as much as possible, because that's what helps you get through anything that you're dealing with as far as injury or like something that takes away what you love from you, and not sulk about it, like attack it. Like I really focused on shifting my mindset, because I used to come up to, I was at UF obviously the whole time I was recovering for the most part, and getting close with my trainer Giorgio. He works at the UF medical like place for like working on your shoulders and just physical therapy stuff, and just getting close with him and just attacking those therapy sessions, which they usually lasted like over the summer. They were probably like a good hour.
An hour therapy sessions, because I still do them 3 times a week. Those tough.
And being able to just really just beat my shoulder up, make sure I had it in full strength, like go at it. I think I went like 2 or 3 times a week, but with a labrum, you don't need more than twice, or I think they said it's like more than 3 times a week. You don't need to do more than 3 times a week for therapy. So not overusing it, because at the end of the day, recovering is, you're trying to recover, you're trying to sleep, get your body right. But that was my main like mindset change, because I was like, well, basketball is taken away from me. What do I put all my energy into and relate it to basketball? 'Cause that's all I ever know. Like mentally with basketball, like it's lock in and focus on it. Like that's what I love to do. And whenever you love something a lot, you put effort into it, you care about it, you cherish it, and you do everything you can to put your energy into what you love. So like I was able to just shift that into like therapy sessions. And obviously at the end of the day, like I'm a hooper. It wasn't the same, bro. Like you want to play basketball, but being able to just focus on getting the most like positive energy I could out of those therapy sessions was my thing. Probably that was probably the biggest thing, just focusing on shifting my energy to those therapy sessions and physical therapy and getting my body right. Because when I had my surgery, I lost, I think I was like the lowest I got, bro. It's kind of crazy. I was like 229 or 228 or something. Like I was thin. Like I went all the way down. And I was like, yo, I looked in the mirror after I had my surgery and like I finished my recovery. Like once I finished my recovery and my rehab, I just looked in the mirror. I'm like, yo, I got to get some muscle. I got to get bigger. I got to lock in. And I touched 253 this summer after I got back. So I was able to get a lot back.
Did that like make you take recovery more seriously, like on a day-to-day basis? As like, because you realize like, you can't do shit like at all at this point. So you realize, well, and like as you said earlier, you came back, you feel so much better on the court and you had all that time off.
Yeah.
So like, did it make you appreciate like recovery time more?
Or
like you wanna like do more recovery.
Yeah, I mean, just focus on making sure your body's right regardless. Like before, I also knew like you can't just work out, like practice every day. Yeah. So like I knew it didn't really change much of my mindset as far as like taking it more serious, because like you have to be locked in, and we have a massage therapist who comes in every week. So like he really just helps get your body right and just focus on that. But definitely like helps realize like it shows you that like putting that therapy helps you. It really does help you, because we're kind of just function to doing our therapy and it helping. But then when you go through an actual full injury, like tearing your whole shoulder out, you realize that like that is what helps you get back to 100%. And you can't BS like your therapy sessions. You can't BS like taking that medicine, because I remember last year, like I remember the pain I felt when it used to shock in the middle of games, and nobody really knows that, but like I was taking really strong medicine to help kind of just like subdue the pain for a little bit. And I was in the middle of the game. I had like the KT tape that I still put on my shoulder. It's like this tape that I put. It's not KT tape. It's like stronger. It's like super expensive that our trainer has. But when the Duke used to have, it looks like it's like a tattoo, but you put on your shoulder and it helps a lot with just keeping it all strong and intact because my arms are flying everywhere, every game, trying to block everything. So I get hit a lot, but last season I would get hit and it would just like shock me. And I'd be like, like there's a couple times you probably saw last year where I would get hit and I'd be like, damn, like this hurts so bad. And then I'm just like, all right, well, keep playing. And you only got one option. I'm not coming out the game. So yeah. I gotta be on the court.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, definitely. Like, cause like, bro, you can play with it, but it's just like certain things hurt. Like I already know how
like little movements. Even to this day, though, I'm not
like
gonna lie.
Little moves.
Yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Bro. I already get how that goes. Like, you don't want to just like get out. If you can play, you gonna play. Like you said, like you a hooper. Like if you have the ability to shoot the ball, you got the ability to dribble. You gonna play. Like it ain't like you gonna just not play. Like I remember like when I was going through my recovery. Like I was out for 5 months. Like my it went from the end of my high school season to the whole summer workouts in my college, my first year. So I'm sitting there watching everybody work out. I'm watching everybody work out. I'm watching everybody condition. Like when I wasn't able to, then I started conditioning, but that was about it. But like I didn't do no contact. I couldn't put a bar, like none of that. Like so I'm sitting there like these guys like I'm in my head like, damn, like they all getting like these. I'm getting behind the 8 ball. Like I'm sitting there like, damn, am I gonna be able to catch up? Like that's where I was like, that's when for my surgery, like I had to really like work on my mental because like for a while I was like, damn, like am I gonna be able to catch up? Am I gonna be able to like play with these guys like because they already got like so many months ahead of me? Like I had to really like you said, like when you got out, like you got recovery, like you gotta lock in. And like you got to get in the gym, you got to get your recovery and stuff like that. And, rehab. So like it was just like the same thing. Just kind of like focusing on like, yeah, I can't do this part of like my life anymore. But like if I'm gonna get back to it, I gotta focus on the things that I can do to be 100% at the thing that I want to be at 100% at. Like kind of like get back to where I want to be at. I can't dwell on I'm not hooping for 5 months. Nah, I gotta dwell on, I got rehab today. I got rehab on Wednesday. I got rehab on Friday. Like I gotta get the rehab sessions in so I can be straight. So when it gets to the point where I can hoop again, I ain't gotta worry about, no like mishaps again. Like I'm gonna strengthen my shoulder to where I could be confident again.
For
So
sure.
that was one thing. Just like, cause I remember when I first started hooping again, I don't know if it was that for you, but when I first started hooping again, like I was still nervous to play with my shoulder. Like, I was
100%.
like when I first started dribbling my left hand again, I was like, hold on. I was like,
me, it was rebounding, and I mean, I wouldn't say I still struggle with it, but going up with like your left and just trying to grab it with one arm, you get worried because as a big, I'm always like I was telling you, I'm always throwing my hands around, like I'm getting fouled. So like, but now this much after, I'm fine. So.
Now the mental part, when coming back from the injury, is definitely the toughest. Because like it's funny you bring it up because today, in therapy, we started working on actually jumping. Like first day, like jumping off the ground, right? And he was like, because we do like these little called faux jumps where you just like get up on your toes.
Yeah.
And he was like
little baby jumps. Yeah.
He's like, all right, I'm just trying to look off the ground. I was like going up to my toes. I was like, I can't, I can't. And he was like, well, why not? He's like, yeah, we're here for balance. And I was like, it's not the balance. Like I'm fine like that. I can't get off the ground. Like I'm scared. Like I'm kind of scared to, even like I don't think I am. Like I know I am. You know what I'm trying to say? Because like I'm so scared. Like when I land on that right foot, because on my left foot I could jump on one foot and come down fine. I was so scared to get off it. He's like, well, what did your doctor say? Like you're good, right? I was like, yeah, they said I'm clinically healed. He's like, well, you're good. Like, you don't have to worry about it. It's just, I'm like, all right, well. So then he started walking away, and like the assistant was there with me, and I started, going for like the big ones, and I was like, I was just try it. I did one. I'm like, oh shit, I did it, and I was like, all right, cool.
It's like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, cool.
It's like that threshold.
Go.
And that's like with basketball, which you just spoke about how like you're like jumping and whatever, and you just couldn't do it. Like it's weird, but like within a basketball game, you just realize there's things that you do and you're just like, dang, like I already did it. Like you can't control, like if I'm doing something, like my arm's gonna go with like there's like I can't stop myself. So it's like when you come back from recovering from like a labrum, for instance, what me and BMAC went through, like there were certain movements where you'd be like, ah, dang, because you're probably not supposed to fully like throw your arm that way or like hit it that hard. But
I watched games, bro, and I'm like, oh, bro, like because knowing you had
Yeah.
that surgery, I'm like, oh god.
like when you're sitting in the post and you're just banging against the shoulder, like, and it was last year, was playing with it torn, which I mean is not that smart, obviously, but I'm crazy, so
I
don't
used
really
to
care
feel
that
for him.
much.
Like I used to be there. I'd be like,
But it just comes back to being like having that competitive spirit, because I didn't want to go without playing basketball during the season. I was fine with not playing, but like not being able to hoop when the season finished.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to finish. I feel like I had an obligation. Like I wasn't like Coach White told me, like when I tore my shoulder, he was like, do you want to just rehab and let it heal so you can focus on going to the next level? And I was like, man, I don't think I can't hoop. Like I sit there and I was just like, I was crying because like that never happened to me before. It was me, him, my mom, my trainer. And like I was like, I have to play, coach. Like I don't have another option, because for me, it was just like finishing what I started. That's something I'm big with. I'm not gonna just start something, play how many games it was. I think it was like, I don't know, beginning of the season, kind of first stretch of the season. It was right before the Mississippi State game, day before it. That was like, today,
like right before.
play tomorrow, like it was the day before Mississippi State, because y'all went and beat them.
Yeah, so that was like
right day.
Because like you heard it around like Auburn. Like I'm pretty sure. Like it was like right after.
I hurt my shoulder. I hurt my shoulder. I pulled my shoulder. Like before I tore my labrum, this left shoulder, I pulled it, and I was having a nagging injury that I was dealing with for like 3 weeks. That's probably what you're thinking about. I had it around Auburn last year, and like it was just nagging and annoying. Like I was doing rehab, and it finally felt 100%. Like I kid you not, that day, when I tore my labrum, I told Duke, our trainer, it's my guy, favorite guy ever in the world. But like I told Duke, yo, this is the first day I feel 100%. Like I'm about to go at it tomorrow versus Mississippi State. And that practice, like 30 minutes after that, I tore my labrum. Yeah. And he was just like, damn.
Yeah. And that's crazy. It's crazy that he brought that up, because that practice, when I seen it with my own two eyes, when I seen all that
I knew it.
Like,
yeah.
I literally knew it.
I knew it was something wrong.
Yeah.
Because when I did it,
I remember because like happened.
Go ahead.
Well, go ahead. Nah, when I was, because after you had went into the training room, and like App and Key, like we was in the crib, and they asked like yo, like you think something wrong? They looked at me because like they already knew, like I already been through that. I said yeah. Something. I was like, he did it. I was like, he definitely did it. Like I could tell by the play. I was like, nah, he did it. It's but like I was like, it's gonna be on how bad he did it, because if he didn't do it too bad, then he could still play. I told, because even my mom texted me when I texted, because she was like, Colin's shoulder hurt, ? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, don't tell me. I was like, yeah. And she was like, if it's not bad as yours. And she was like, if it's not as bad as yours, then you can still play. And I was like, yeah, he could definitely still play. It's up to him to, you know. But then, like I said, I felt for him, because like, I could just like, sometimes I be holding my own shoulder. I was like,
for real. It never goes away, really. You just gotta be able to control it and get it as strong as possible. That's the biggest thing. But I was gonna say was, when it happened, Duke came over and was like, because I was like, because I fell over. Like I didn't fall to the ground, but I fell over and I was just holding it, because it was the sharpest pain I ever have felt. Like it was like, you know what I'm talking about, bro. Like the sharpest pain. It just goes straight when you just tear that whole ligament, like sharpest pain ever. And I'm sitting there because I've broke my hand. Okay, that didn't hurt that bad. Like I've had a lot of injuries, broke my nose, things like that. And that hurts. But like when you tear it, you just know. And that's why when you watch basketball, it sucks. But like you see these dudes, like if they get injured, you just know, you're like, oh damn, man, like he knows. But like I was just like, damn, and I fell over and he was like, all right, let's go to the training room, like whatever. And he grabbed me and I was like, dude, no, like I'm telling you, I messed it up for real. He was like, all right, well, come with me. And then we went to the training room, and then think we got my MRI like right away. And then the next day at shoot around is when they told me, like the day of the game. I was like, oh, not surprised. But it was like, dang.
Bro, I
For
can't
sure.
wait to laugh when you started listening bad and you said you broke your nose. I'll never forget the day you broke your nose, bro. That shit was so crazy.
LA Fitness playing pickup.
Bro, right before, like literally like 2 weeks before the season's about to start.
Crazy high school.
Like he's trying to push it up like on some point guard shit, right? Goes to crossover like a dude that's like 5'7" at half court and just banks his shit. Blood everywhere, dude. Like, bro, he went to the bathroom at LA Fitness and like we went in there after a couple minutes, bro, just blood like everywhere. Dog.
Yeah, it was bad. I mean, y'all can see it. Look, bro, it's crooked. Yeah. I haven't gotten it fixed. Did you know that?
I did not know that, bro.
You didn't know how to broke? Bro, look, hold up, bro. I'm about to show y'all. Just look at
we getting a real Colin Castleton today.
Look at my nose, bro.
I figure I see that. I definitely see it now. Like that was you saying, but like I ain't really
right
I ain't
here,
really trip off
right, it's right here. Yeah.
Yeah, like oh yeah, you definitely see it, but like when I first see it, like I don't just assume that boy got a broken nose. Like everybody got your nose came about it. You feel me?
I'm not that ugly though. Once I get surgery, I'll be good.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but it was crazy though. So
man.
That shoulder is not a joke for real.
So now that we're talking about high school and like in the past,
yeah.
Your story, what you went through actually growing up, kind of, a lot of people could actually relate to, and a lot of people could be in the same shoes as you, right? So to start off, like your whole life up until high school, you were pretty much a military child. You moved around place to place a lot, and for a lot of people, some kids like that really affects them, having to move from place to place, school to school. You don't make a lot, like you start to make some friends, and you gotta move on.
Yeah.
What was that like for you growing up? Like how'd you deal with that, and what did you learn from that?
Yeah, it's definitely different. Like when I hear, not much in college, but like going into high school and we were around high school, and also like obviously a little bit of people I met in college, but hearing like how they grew up with the same people and they've been friends with people since they were like 4 years old, like things like that.
Yeah.
Like I just sit there and I'm just like, so weird. Like, but the only people that relate to that are people that are like military families, or honestly probably like kids of an athlete or something that, move around from state to state or go to different places. Or if you didn't have like the best background when you were younger and you couldn't stay in a certain spot for, his period of time, like if things weren't going the right way, if you had situations going on. But like, it's just weird. Sure. It's specifically relating to like being in a military family, because my 4th and 5th grade year, we lived on an Army base. Like I'm in 4th grade, bro, hearing tanks blow up, and I'm just sitting in my room like, what is going on? Like that's how it was, because we were in Fort Benning, Georgia, which is like one of the biggest Army bases at the time. It was, I don't know if now, but there's like Fort Bragg in North Carolina. But we were stationed. My stepdad was stationed in Georgia, and like you live on an Army base, bro. It's like a whole different world. Like being in society, bro. It's kind of cool though, because like it's just crazy the amount of respect. That's probably like the biggest takeaway I had when I was younger, like understanding how to respect people that came before you, or people that know what they're talking about. Like just having that respect to like coaches and being coachable. That's helped me really learn, like not taking things the wrong way from people that care about you. Like if, for instance, if we can relate to basketball, which is the biggest thing I can relate to, is just coaching, like learning, like, okay, like these people have the best interest for you when it comes to this situation. They're not trying to attack you. Like they've been through these scenarios in their life. For instance, on a military base, like if a person was teaching my dad something because he was a higher rank, like not to say, okay, people are ranked, but like in the military, my stepdad was a very intelligent person when he was, working throughout the military for his 30 years. Like he was in the Army for 29 years. And he's a very, very intelligent person. Super smart. Like my stepdad has taught me so many things as a young man that has helped me where I'm at today, for sure. So like being able to learn from a person who was in the military his whole life, basically. And like, I think there's this notion where like a lot of guys in the military may not be as smart, but he's had a lot of life lessons, and he was intelligent. He read a lot of books, like really, really smart person. But he just taught me like that respect. Like when I was younger, I'm not gonna sit here and say it was always yes, sir, no, sir. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think he really believed in that. Obviously I should sometimes, but like I personally was always Like I always knew how to say yes, ma'am, or whatever. But like he wasn't somebody who like really put that on me. That's what most people think this military is like, yes, sir, no, sir, no. But it's like he's been through a lot of life lessons. Like when he was overseas in Afghanistan, he's had stories that are like insane, like getting shot in a helicopter and waking up on the side of a mountain. Like things that you don't even think of are crazy, right? Like, yeah. So like he was able to just teach me life. He's been through a lot. Like he's been through a lot, and he's had surgery, like double knee surgeries. He's been through a lot of things. So like him teaching me life lessons has really helped me when it comes to basketball and respecting others. But like your question said, just going off of that, like being on a military base is actually kind of weird, but like I was young and you don't really have another option. Like, so you got to learn how to get there. And then growing up, you kind of just get used to it. Back to your question about not having like the same friends or being around the same people, you get used to it. Like we lived in Tampa, Georgia. I was born and raised in South Florida. We moved away, went to where we live now, back home in DeLand, which is about 2 hours from Gainesville. Just moved around Tampa, Georgia, went all over the place. Not really a lot of states. So I guess that was the only thing that a lot of families I didn't really relate to was like, I had kids that I knew that like lived in Japan and they moved to like Germany and then they would move to Florida and then they moved to like Arkansas. Like that's kind of crazy, but I never had to deal with that. So I was always in the same little region. But as far as like just principles of life and like learning respect and things like that was probably the biggest thing that I was able to take away. And then the moving around, it wasn't that hard because you're young, so you don't really have a choice but to do it.
Yeah. You don't think like having to move around a lot and like meet new people all the time, do you think like that kind of, how do I say it, like kind of not bred your anxiety in a sense, but like, because it's hard to trust people, like, especially when you're
100%, yeah.
like, it's super hard to trust people. It's hard to like actually make friends that you want to talk to, you want to share things with. So you think that was a factor?
I mean, it could be for sure. Like obviously there's reasons why people become anxious or go through certain things mentally. So that, I mean, I don't really know for sure. Yeah. Obviously I don't really know, but it definitely could be a factor as to why maybe I had a little bit of lingering, like not trusting people as much as normal people that like just trust people off bat or like, I don't know. That's always how I've been though. I don't know if those really relate because like I just had instances throughout my life where like trust is a big thing. So being able to just trust people is a really big key of mine, obviously, like you spoke about, but it could have definitely played a factor. I never really thought about that actually, to be honest with you. So that's cool. But
let's think about things.
Yeah, it could have played a factor. I mean, it makes sense though, because there's always a reason behind something. There's genetic stuff, obviously, that could play a part. Like you could genetically have mental health things that run in the family. So that's something that obviously happens for people, but I can't really tell you where it stemmed from for real. But
so fast forward a little bit, like you said, like where your family lives now in DeLand, your Kyle Lopez, that's where we met. We came from
the crib.
What'd you say?
The crib.
The crib. It's on. That's where we met. Where we become best friends. Your freshman year, actually, you were 6'4" as a freshman.
Yeah.
You didn't play varsity basketball. You actually played JV. You're on both, but you played JV.
Mm-hmm.
And then what a lot of people don't know is you actually got kicked off the team.
Yeah.
Freshman year.
I did do that. For sure.
Whoa. So what happened? And how did you get past that?
Well, I mean, yeah, like you said, I got kicked off freshman year on junior varsity. That's kind of funny, but honestly, my freshman year, I really don't know, like, to be honest, what I was thinking, or at the end of the day, I just blame it on being a young person. And, I was 14 at the time. Like, I really didn't know what focus meant, like how to really lock in on basketball or loving something. Cause I didn't love it then. Like, I really didn't love basketball until
you were a class clown.
Yeah. So like, I didn't really love basketball until going into my sophomore year. And that's when everything flipped, like the switch flipped. But yeah, I just wasn't good in school. I didn't put enough effort into it. Didn't do what I needed to do. Didn't focus on the right things. And then like I let my grades slip. Became academically ineligible. Wasn't even allowed to go to the road games. Like I asked the coaches, like, "Yo, can I just come? I want to watch." Nope, you're not doing what you need to do. So, like, why should we let you come watch the games? Like, and then that sucked because I was like, really started to enjoy playing basketball. Like I didn't love it, obviously, but I liked playing it, going to practice and stuff. And then, but obviously I didn't care enough because I didn't do what I was supposed to do in the classroom. So then I was ineligible. Then that summer, I so that year I failed a math class, my freshman year of high school. I failed a math class. And then that summer I had to take Florida Virtual. It's like this, I don't know what they do in other states, but it's called Florida Virtual School. And like, it's when you fail a class in high school, that summer you're allowed to take it to make up the credits. So you don't get like held back or something. You're able to just get the credits or whatever and go to your sophomore year of high school, right? Because if you fail a class, like at our private school, Father Lopez, if you failed a class, like they didn't accept an F, like basically, like they don't like nobody fails classes there. So like, I mean, some kids did obviously, but like it's like what a 90-something% graduate, 98% graduation rate. Yeah. So like they were just like, you have to figure out a way to pass the class. Basically, you can't fail classes. So I failed it though. So that summer I went online and I took that math class, and it was the worst summer of my life, bro. Like I hate math, so like I was in there fighting for my life, but I got it done. And then going to my sophomore year, yeah, it's really when I fell in love with basketball. Like I wasn't able to play AU. Like wasn't able to hang out with my friends as much as I wanted to because I had to really lock in on this. And that's like when I started doing that math class and caring about it that much, I knew like, okay, I really care about basketball probably because I wouldn't be doing this if I really didn't care about basketball like that. Like I had the vision of one day playing basketball in college, and everybody would tell me like, if you really care about this, like you have to do this. Like you're not going to make it. You're going to be one of those 7-foot kids, or at the time I was 6'5", but like you're going to be one of those 6'4", 6'5" kids that's just dangling around and nobody's going to know what happened to him. So I was like, I started falling in love with basketball. And from there, it just took off for real.
So you started to kind of touch on it, like what you did that summer after freshman year, but you only talked about like kind of school basketball wise. Like, you said that's where you fell in love with basketball. What was that summer like for you with basketball? Because that was the first time I know you actually like locked in on something where you're like, all right, I'm gonna take this serious. You had that class going on, and that was like all you basketball was all.
Yeah. So I was working out. Like I didn't do anything else, bro. Like I didn't hang out with nobody. Like I was a loner because I did my schoolwork, and I'll go to the gym in Daytona Beach. It was like called DME Academy my freshman summer. And I was in the gym. I was working out, getting shots. I was just lanky dude. Like I still got pictures of me when I was working out there, if I could find one. But like I was young. I was like, huh?
You know, we'll send the picture to Chris, and Chris will blow it up on the what's name.
All right, yeah. Like I got pictures of me like young Colin. Like literally, I don't think anybody can see it, but yeah. Anyways, but it's funny. I was working out, 15 or whatever, and then was just getting better because I was just so young, so long, lanky, like just raw. And then started getting better, fell in love with the game, with basketball, like going to the gym every day. And I started realizing like, damn, I really like this. Like I really, really enjoy it. Like it brings me joy to go play, work out, go pick up a basketball. And that's kind of like when I knew like, I'm starting to love this. I really enjoy it. And then from there, just like took off, like I was telling you. So that was the biggest thing. Just like actually realizing I'm falling in love with playing basketball. And, you know, when you love something, like I was telling y'all earlier, you go to the gym, you work out. That's how it was for me.
Yeah. So, like on the last episode, like I said, I found it really interesting. BMAX said that like I don't remember how to I can't really think how to say it, but we were talking about basketball and the love of the game. And he said he didn't really fall in love with basketball. That basketball fell in love with him. And that's like not something you hear from a lot of people. So do you feel like there was a point where like basketball loves you back? Or like
that's interesting.
Yeah, no, it was bro, I'm not gonna lie, when he said that, I had to stop and I didn't know what to say because you never actually hear someone say, you know, the game loved me. So
yeah,
that's what pulled me to it.
Yeah, it could definitely be that for sure. Like that's a really like interesting way of looking at it. I never even thought about that for sure, but for sure that's cool to hear that. Like the basketball loves you. So I mean obviously you have to have both sides to it. So like, he definitely loved basketball too.
Like maybe like that kind of like it just kind of like all clicked.
Yeah, I mean
at this point in high school, like all the coaches started calling, or like you know when you transferred to Florida, you know you finally like the first thing is Vanderbilt.
When I related to me loving basketball, it was like I said that freshman summer going into you know my sophomore year of high school, which is a long time ago. But everybody knows when they fell in love with their sport, or you know a lot of kids. But I mean, a lot of kids pick up basketballs when they're like 3 years old and they know, or like when they're 5 and they're playing a little. Like I didn't know. I played a bunch of sports, so going to that sophomore year was my waking up. Like I said, I love basketball. But loving me back, like the biggest point where I was like, man, like all that work is finally paying off was probably, I don't think I've ever been more just appreciative of all, like, because a lot of people don't, when it comes to basketball, like a lot of people show you love and they appreciate how hard you work and they tell you, oh, like, you're a hard worker, like we love watching you, whatever. But sometimes you got to look in the mirror and appreciate things that you've done, because at the end of the day, it's you've been through those things in your life. You've worked hard. Like self-love is a good thing too, like being appreciative of the work you put in. So the biggest thing for me was probably that Vanderbilt game. Like you said, that was probably the biggest moment, because I was just like, it was my junior season after I transferred from Michigan to Florida, and like I was playing well, so I was starting obviously and everything. But then like that was my first ever 20-point game in college. So
Dude,
it was 23 points. First game of SEC play, right? It was first game of SEC play.
You got like 14, and then I'm like, all right, you got 16, and I'm like sitting there with my phone at work. You got the second one. I'm like, oh my god, it's one bucket away.
So I was like,
and you got it. I'm like, oh my god, it's first 20 points.
So like I got my first 20-point game, and I was like, man, like I could really kill. Like that's when I realized, like, okay, it's gonna be good for sure. I gotta just keep doing what I did to get to this point. I know like a lot of people, that may not mean nothing. Like a lot of guys in college like scored 20, like it's literally nothing, and like I get that. But at the time, like just all the stuff I've been through with basketball, all the like the late nights, you just put the work in, all the stress, all the questioning. I was like, dang, I scored 23 points. Like, let's go, man. Like, let me pat myself on the back. So that was probably the biggest point in my career where I was like, oh yeah, basketball showed love back. Sure.
It's tough. I'll never forget watching that first 20-point game. I was so happy for you. Like, I can't even put into words right now. It was amazing to be a part of, because I remember.
And it's also like everybody who's close to me and like really like cared about me as a person and like was there for me whenever things weren't really going, how everybody may have planned or saw or whatever. But they knew what a lot of people were saying. Like I didn't listen to a lot of stuff. So like I personally never really cared what people talked about me. I didn't care what people back home would say about me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people wanted me to stay close to home, like not go far away or whatever. And then when I did, like not close family members, obviously, they all had my back. Whatever I want to do, they were riding for me, obviously. That's what family is. But people in the area and like in the city of Volusia County, like things like that, they were always like, why do you go to Michigan? Like they would ask everybody that. So being able just to like, y'all calm down, man. Like I got this. Don't worry about it. Like y'all need to stop worrying about what I'm doing. So it was cool.
Everybody's process is completely different.
100%. Everything is about stop worrying about what the guy next to you is doing and worry about what you're doing. It's cool to see what other people are doing, but don't worry about what they're doing, because at the end of the day, like you're living your life. You got to get to where you want to get to. You can't live off of whatever username 9967 on Twitter says about you or social media. Like quit that. Like don't look at that. Nobody cares about that. So, or what some guy back home says about your basketball game, doesn't matter. Like you got to focus on you. And some people may think you're coming off as the wrong way by doing that, but it's not. Like you're focusing on what you got to do.
Yeah.
I'm glad you had that mentality, because you at one of the schools that has the biggest Twitter hold on. Yeah, he's letting you know now. Y'all can stop. You can tweet all y'all want. He's not listening. And if y'all got something, and if y'all got something to say, I'm not there no more, so I can respond. I ain't a college athlete no more, so I can respond. I got time.
Man, people have talked to me about that while I've been in Florida, just because obviously I played for two of the biggest fan bases, like not basketball, like sports in general. Like they ride for like every sport they care about, and like being able to just see those fans and how hard they care about it. I mean, at the end of the day, like you have to produce and you got to do what you want to do. But at Florida, like I feel like I love this school so much. It's not a problem to me. I don't really care. Like I take it as like a constructive criticism if I have a bad game or whatever. But I don't listen to what fans say. Like I listen to people who actually go to the games, who support you, who show up. You know what I'm saying? Like really care about basketball. And people will tell me like when they go to games, like keep doing what you're doing, or give you little pointers. And that's the stuff I like listen to, because those people actually care. They show up to the games. And not saying people who don't show up to games don't care. That's not what I'm saying, because some people may not have the means, they might not have the timing, they might have a family, they have a job, and I get that. But it definitely is cool to see like those fans that you see at every game. Like I'll be warming up and I see these same people every single game since I've been here junior year. It's right by our little where we warm up at on our hoop, and it's the wife and her husband, and they're every single game. And I'm just like, that's respect. Like they really care about it. You know what I'm saying? And they show up. So all love to the fans, no matter what it is. At the end of the day, people are gonna say what they want to say, have their own opinion. That's life, for sure.
Life for you. That's definitely. I was gonna ask you though. How was the food on the base?
Oh, on the Army
Like,
base,
yeah, like how
they
was
had
the food?
everything. They had regular like fast food and stuff. Like they had like all the fast food joints. They had like
No, dude, I'm not gonna lie, because like when I lived in Washington, bro, my cousin was in the Navy. Like the bases.
oh naval bases are nice too though.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Like
Nah, they're like they got
all the
malls and
stores are
stuff, bro.
discounted,
Not like big malls, but they got them. They got like little plazas that have like
No, yeah, no, like
Yeah.
they got the Air Force base in like my city. Like it's like not too far.
Yeah,
Like
I
you
mean
can go to the Air
they're
Force base.
definitely smooth, but like
Yeah.
I'm just talking about like it's just like weird to just unless somebody's lived there, it's just weird because like you feel like you're like not connected to that real world because you got this big Army base and you got like it's just crazy.
You and yours.
And I feel like as a younger person, it's probably different though. But like I'm trying to think of kids that are like maybe in high school in Army base or something, because like
Yeah.
it's just weird, you know. Like as a young kid, it was easy, but like being in high school, I don't know how that like experience is, but probably
And like you
different
went
for
to
sure.
school, like and you like went to school like in the base, like it was like a
Yeah,
school
they
in
had
the base.
elementary schools, middle schools.
Yeah, high schools too.
Did they have a high school in Fort Benning? I don't know if they had a high school at Fort Benning, but I know they had middle schools and elementary schools. Obviously, they had multiple ones. Dude, that base, like I'm trying to tell you, Fort Benning, if you gotta look it up, it's huge, bro. The Army base there, it's big. It's like one of the biggest in the country. But
Yeah.
they I don't know if they had a high school, but there's a city right outside there called Columbus, Georgia, and it's literally like 5 minutes outside the base. So like they have high schools there and stuff you can go to. But the class sizes were, I want to say like when I was in fourth grade, like normal. Like I think it was like 20 something. Because there's a lot of people that live on that base, bro. So, but what's funny is like all the houses look exactly the same, and it's weird because like, so on an Army base, like you live based on your rank. So like if you're like say a lieutenant, which is middle pack of like ranking in the Army, you stay in these like little bungalow apartments kind of.
Yeah.
And then you get to like a major, which is like a little bit higher, and they live in like a decent sized house. And then you get into like a colonel, which is right below a general, and you live in like a little bit bigger of a house. And you get to like the 1-star generals, 2-star generals, whatever, and they live in like big houses. And it's crazy because like that's just how they do it. It's like that's their way of like a respecting, I guess. It was just so weird to me because I was so young, but like you drive on a road, imagine driving on a street, like a regular street, you hit a stop sign, you go through a stop sign, and then there's like 25 houses on each side of the road, and they're all identical. Like house, all down the street, and they're all identical. So
That's crazy.
it's just weird, like
You're on your own little world.
because you see that with like
Your own little
apartments,
world.
obviously, you see that whatever, but like not like the same color white houses. Boom.
Yeah, no, yeah. That's how it is out here. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's that's crazy. Like there's like areas out here, like where I'm at. Like when you just drive, you just see all white villas, just rows and rows of them. I'm just like,
It is true. It's like that over in Europe.
Yeah.
Sure.
Where I was at, there was like one little patch, and it was like just townhouses for streets, bro.
In
Washington.
yeah, Washington.
Yeah. It was kind of it's weird.
crazy.
They used to deliver pizzas when I was out there. But
Definitely different.
so
For sure.
like it was so like being so confused where you was at and shit.
Yeah.
Thank the Lord for house numbers, boy. Especially in them type of areas.
I couldn't imagine if you DoorDash on a military base how hard it is, unless like at an apartment complex or something. If they have the apartment numbers, you're good.
You probably like get to like security first though. Like you know like
No. You can't DoorDash. Like that's what I'm trying to figure out. Like I wonder.
Like when I worked,
you can DoorDash and go on.
I mean, probably.
I don't think you can for Benning though.
No, bro.
Bro. Like
I mean, probably
nah.
not where you was at.
I had to get a military ID. I still have it. So anytime I deliver a piece to the base, I just show my military.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's hard.
But best believe they're watching you when you go on that base.
They probably.
I could, bro. Yeah.
They're watching you because bro.
I didn't go to mine, just feed them, bro.
Watching. There's cops
They
everywhere.
probably checking the bag. They
That's
checking the
security.
bags and everything.
That security
They
is
definitely.
top notch.
They making sure you ain't got nothing in there to harm nobody or something like that too. They probably making sure of that. They like, nah, you ain't finna get in here. You finished had the food and you in the car. That's about
Out of
it.
here. For sure.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Shit. Hey, how long we been going at it now? Shit, we've been about an hour and 20 minutes now.
Pretty smooth.
See, I told you, bro. That's how it be, bro.
Ain't got much else. You? Well, thank you everyone for tuning in to episode number 2 of the EverPresent Podcast. I want to thank Colin for coming on.
Appreciate y'all, man.
It's a great episode. I think a lot of great points that you talked about, a lot of great things that could, a lot of people are going through the same stuff that all of us have been through at the end of the day. Everyone's going through the same things, just in a different form. So a lot of people can take away from your story, what you've gone through, and that's amazing. And also, I just want to thank everyone for tuning into the first episode as well. Everyone that I've gotten feedback from, the feedback that we got was exactly what I wanted to hear. What people were saying, the message that they got from it was exactly what I wanted to get across from it. And that was the whole point, and I'm really glad about that. So thank you, everyone. That's episode number 2. My name is Chris. This is BMAC, and this was Colin.
Appreciate y'all.